What's going on, guys? It's Mike for SimRacing604, and today I'm going to be doing another deep dive into Assetto Corsa Competizione's driver ratings, this time with less PowerPoint, I promise. I had a few requests during a recent live stream for tips on how to build up the various ratings in ACC, so this video will hopefully help those struggling with it to get those ratings up. And we'll start off with some bad news, or maybe just some sobering news. There's no way to game the system or cheat your way into a high driver rating. Building your various ratings does take time, but there are some ways to minimize that time. And before we start, just some important notes here. First of all, each of the 7 ratings we're going to cover starts at 0 and can go all the way up to 99. And once you get a score of 50 at each of the first 6 ratings, it unlocks the next rating. And you can check your current ratings from the driver menu, and you can choose your rating focus from the heads-up display settings, or leave it at auto to let the game choose the most recent rating you've unlocked. Alright, so the first rating you're going to build in ACC is Track Competence, or TR. TR measures how well you know each of the tracks on offer. Most online races use the TR rating as a basic gate. Server hosts like to know that you at least know the track before you start the race. TR rating is based on a 1, 2, or 3 star rating for each track in the game. Complete a clean lap at a reasonable pace and you get a star. 2 consecutive laps gets you 2 stars, and 4 consecutive laps at a given track gives you 3 stars. If you're feeling brave, you can shorten that time by driving in the dark or in the rain and get 3 stars at all the tracks in the game, and you'll have a 99 TR rating. The best method to achieve this quickly is to start with the tracks you know, like Monza, Spa, Nürburgring, or Brands Hatch. All of these seem to be represented in most racing games and racing sims, so there's a good chance you'll know the layout already. And I'd recommend a neutral handling car like the 650S GT3 or the Nissan GTR GT3, and don't try and set the world on fire with your lap time, but you will need to be somewhat aggressive and not cruise. Make sure you're either on the accelerator or the brake through the whole lap. Drive at a pace that keeps you in control enough to stay on or at least close to the racing line, but keep in mind that one off-track incident or cut and your progress is erased, so steady pace is key. TR is the only rating you can't lose, so don't worry about this one once you've got it to a 99. Sometime in the process of building your TR rating, your CN rating will be unlocked and start building. This is your consistency rating. No surprise, this is going to measure your ability to be consistent on the track. Most people immediately tie consistency to lap times. It's far better to think of your lap time as an extension of your consistency rather than the measure of it. Your focus should be consistent racing lines and position. If you have 2 tires on the curb exiting turn 3 on the first lap, make sure you have 2 tires on the curb exiting turn 3 on the second lap. If you brake at the 100 mark into turn 1 this lap, make sure you brake at the 100 mark into turn 1 next lap. Like your TR rating, the CN rating prefers you to be consistent rather than fast. A great way to build this stat is to run a hot stint at a track that you know well, like Monza or Laguna Seca, and set up a 20 or 30 minute hot stint session with good track conditions, and take a car like, again, the 650S or the GTR or the Lexus out and focus on a steady pace with consistent track positioning rather than focusing on lap or session times. Once your CN rating is at 50, the CC rating, or car control, is next. You've been biased toward consistency up to this point, but now it's time to start pushing a bit. This doesn't mean you should start driving erratically, of course. Overall, in ACC and racing sims in general, it's better to be consistent and a bit slower than inconsistent and sometimes fast. However, eventually you will need to start pushing the limits of the car like pro drivers do. If you push too hard and start oversteering or understeering drastically, your CC rating will take a hit. Or if you play it too safe, your CC rating will also take a hit. So the best way to tell if you're pushing hard enough is to enable the car control widget from the heads-up display settings menu. Tire temperature can also be a good indicator of whether you're pushing too hard or not hard enough. Keep your widget or your tires in the green and you should be able to build your CC quickly. CC and CN are strongly linked, so a good hot stint session should help significantly with building your car control rating. The shift from CC to CN shouldn't be a drastic change in driving style, just start braking slightly later or getting on the power slightly earlier. Once you've got the hang of car control, building your ratings in ACC takes a pretty significant jump in difficulty. Assuming you've done a few good hot stints without crashing and while keeping your CC widget in the green, you're now ready to take on the rest of the ACC drivers in special events to build your PC or pace rating. Special events are hot lap, super pole, and hot stint sessions where your time gets ranked against other drivers who've tried the same session. If you're the best in the world, you'll be a 99, but the good news is it's hard to be a 0. Special event leaderboards have a lot of recorded times of people that just gave up or pushed so hard that their time was hindered by frequent crashes, and that's the trick really to building pace. Just cleanly finish the session, especially hot stints. The longer the better. Lots of racers give up after they crash, so even finishing at a consistent and slow pace will lead to a decent rank. By reference, I'm not a fast driver, but I've ranked in the 80s multiple times for pace rating just based on finishing hot stint sessions. So keep in mind that you also don't need to do all the special events, just the ones you're most comfortable with. Your pace rating will be based on your best result of the current season. And a final footnote on pace ratings are based on your best score of the current season, but ACC has been buggy in updating your rank for a long time, so your best score may not update your pace rating right away. Hopefully this becomes more consistent in the future. Next is the safety rating. Safety rating is an important thing to build and protect. It's important to build because many online races have a minimum SA rating requirement to enter the race. It's important to protect because once you've built it up high, it can fall faster than it rebuilds. So sometimes a crash on track can erase many laps of safe driving. The safety rating, of course, measures your ability to race safely with others. So unlike previous ratings, to build your SA score, you'll need to be on track with other cars. The key metric ACC uses to calculate your safety rating is your ability to race close to others without hitting them. Racing within a few tenths of other cars for extended periods of time boosts your rating. Colliding with other cars reduces your SA rating. So the fastest way to build your safety rating is to keep close proximity to your competitors, either in single player or multiplayer racing, and I recommend single player since the AI tends to be more consistent than other humans you might find online. Choose a car you're comfortable driving and a track you know well, and run AI races while focusing on staying close to the car ahead of you without focusing on overtaking. If you can run side by side with cars, it seems to help boost the SA race rating faster. Ideally, you'd be running 90 or higher AI difficulty, but if that's too fast for you, you can dial it down to a level that allows you to stay close to the other cars. Keep in mind that a collision harms you more than several minutes of clean racing helps you, so avoid contact at all costs. And something that I missed in my last SA video is that finishing a race does give you a bonus in safety rating, so make sure you cross the finish line before you leave the session. Remember way back, like 30 seconds ago when I told you not to worry about passing? You can forget about that advice now. Building your RaceCraft rating requires you to push your limits on track and overtake cars that are roughly at your skill level. Or if you're not able to overtake, how long you hold off a faster car behind you counts towards your RaceCraft. Of course, it would be easy to overtake and hold off overtakes if the difficulty of the competitors was lower, but ACC knows this. So you'll need to keep the AI high in single player or find an online race or league that challenges you and keeps you battling for positions. Like safety, I recommend building RaceCraft in single player. Human drivers can sometimes be erratic, but the AI tends to brake at the same location lap to lap, opening up passing opportunities. And speaking of passing opportunities, there's an easy one at the final chicane of Spa. It's pretty easy to brake later and claim the inside lane here, so if you keep close to the car in front of you for most of the lap and hold off on any overtakes, then claim that position just before the start-finish straight, you get a boost in RaceCraft. And the same can be applied to any course really, so try and vary the course while keeping the theory in place. That theory being, stick close to the cars for as long as you can, and when you find a passing opportunity, take it. And be aware of cars in your rear view as well, and try and position yourself so that they can't overtake you. So the final rating in ACC is CP or competition. The competition rating is your ability to race online against others and win. The CP can only be built by racing in the official Kunos competition online servers and getting good results. The competition servers host scheduled races and the quality of racing tends to be quite high level. I've done a few competition races and I'm still sadly at a 0 rating. The bottom line of competition ratings is that you'll need to be fast in those servers, so experiment with different cars and even classes until you find one that you can win with or at least place well with. Also try the different times of day for the scheduled races, since some races tend to be more competitive than others depending on the time zones that are able to race. And one quick but important footnote here, guys. Keep in mind that some of the ratings are linked. This is both good and bad. The good is in cases like TR, CN, and CC, where it's hard to build one without building the others. The bad is that sometimes focusing on building one of the higher rankings can cost you in other rankings. For example, running a hot stint in the rain is a good way to build your pace rating, but the difficult conditions may affect your consistency and car control ratings. So be mindful of keeping yourself balanced. Don't try to become a 99 in one rating if it's at the expense of your other ratings. So that's pretty much it, guys, for driver ratings in ACC. Building those ratings is one of my favorite things about Assetto Corsa Competizione. I really get attached to my driver rating and I love building it. I love seeing it progress as I grow as a driver, and I hope you find fun in it too. If this guide has been helpful for you, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.